supremacist leader who influenced the Charleston shooter, and also contributed campaign money, dollars, to Republicans, including 4 of the guys who are now running for president. My big question, what is it about the Republican Party that this guy likes so much? Plus, the big vote today by the Senate to back President Obama and deliver a signature achievement of his presidency, the Pacific Trade Deal. And it's Clown Car Tuesday, and in the driver's seat this week, Donald Trump. He's got all the seats. And let me finish with Wyona Roosevelt. Deserves to be on U.S. currency. This is hardball. 3 points behind frontrunner Jeb Bush, and ahead of candidates like Scott Walker and Marco Rubio. It's Bush 14, Trump at 11, with Scott Walker at 8, Rubio at 7, and Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, at 6. When we go back to hardball, well, the Charleston massacre has re-exposed an ugly vein of racism, of course, and some troubling political ties out there on the right. In his purported manifesto, gunman Dylan Roof says he was inspired by the writings and research of the white supremacist group called the Council of Conservative Citizens. He writes, quote, "At this moment, I realized that something was very wrong." He's talking about the country. That group is run by Earl Holt III, a man who has spewed some of the foulest hatred you're ever going to read. A few years ago in an online comment thread, the user with his name, the same name, wrote, quote, "The real enemy is Africanus criminalis, the laziest, stupidest, and most criminally inclined race in the history of the world." That's Earl Holt talking there. When President Obama was elected in 2008, the same man wrote this in his group's website: "I never dreamed that even a nation of dolts, gamblers, borrowers, and personal injury plaintiffs would elect a phony Negro with 3 Muslim names and a Marxist agenda." That's Earl Holt talking. As he was promoting white supremacy, Holt and his group were also promoting Republican candidates. In the last few years, he, that man you're looking at, contributed nearly $70,000 to dozens of Republicans, including presidential hopefuls like Rick Santorum, Rand Paul, Scott Walker, Ted Cruz. The party now finds itself scrambling to distance itself from Holt and his group, of course, and every one of those politicians has rejected Holt's money now by donating it to charity. Now, Richard Cohen is the president of the Southern Poverty Law Center, a legal and advocacy organization that tracks hate groups like this. Howard Feiner here is, of course, global editorial director at the Huffington Post. I want to go to Richard first on this. Give us a sense of this group. This council, is this the successor to the notorious white citizens councils that grew up after Reconstruction or during Reconstruction?
That's exactly right, Chris. They were built, in fact, on the mailing lists of the old white citizens councils. At one point in the late 90s, early 2000s, they boasted about 15,000 members, including many, many prominent Republican office holders.
Why do they like the Republican Party? I know it's a basic question, but I need to hear it.
Well, I think part of the real question is, why does the Republican Party like them so much during that time? It was part of the Southern strategy. People like Trent Lott routinely spoke at their conferences, and for the people involved in the council, well, the Republican Party, they were the most conservative game in town.
What about this guy Scalise of Louisiana, the guy's in the leadership now? Didn't he speak to one of those groups?
I believe so, that's correct. He claims, of course, like all of them, that he didn't know who he was talking to. It's just such a common refrain that you hear. But can you imagine Trent Lott or Haley Barbour going to a group and not knowing anything about it? They got better advanced people than that.
Well said. Southern Republicans are no stranger to the group, as you point out. And Richard, in fact, in 1993, the Arkansas Lieutenant Governor Mike Huckabee spoke to the group's convention by videotape. In 1998, then Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott, you mentioned, and Congressman Bob Barr addressed the group's convention. In 2004, Haley Barbour, then a candidate for governor of Mississippi, posted with CCC staff at a barbecue. There he is. Howard, let's talk about the Republican Party's problem here. They get this on their fingers now. They've got a connection with a guy who inspired a guy who shot 9 people.
Well, Chris, this is the nightmarish other side of the Southern strategy. Just a little history for a second. The South was a Democrat for decades.
Solid South.
And then the Civil Rights Movement happened. It caused a death charge in the South. Eventually, the Republicans, led by Richard Nixon, saw the chance to take the South from the Democrats and make the South the base of a new Republican Party. And that, in fact, has been the case consistently from the late 60s and early 70s through to today. Pretty much, except for places like Virginia and North Carolina occasionally around the perimeter, the solid South for the Republicans. And in the old days, it used to be considered almost shrewd that they would play to the edges of this. Ronald Reagan in 1980, one of the first campaign stops of the fall of 1980 for Ronald Reagan was at the Neshoba County Fair in Philadelphia, Mississippi, right down the road from where some civil rights workers had been killed. That symbolism was that symbolism was not lost on anybody in the South.
So you think that was seen as...
That was dog whistle politics, that was foghorn politics. People called him on it at the time, but that's 30 years ago in American politics. We are a different country. We are a multicultural country. We are a country of many races, not just the black-white story. And the Southern strategy is now coming to haunt the Republicans. And if they don't find a way to disengage themselves from it, they've got no chance of winning a presidential election. No.
As I mentioned, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Rick Santorum, and Scott Walker are donating the money they got from Hope, this racist, to charity. They're doing it now. In a statement, Rick Santorum said, "I abhor the sentiments Mr. Holt has expressed. These statements and sentiments are unacceptable, period, end of sentence." A spokesman for Ted Cruz said, quote, "Senator Cruz believes that there is no place for racism in society. Upon learning about Mr. Holt's background and his contributions to the campaign, he immediately instructed that all those donations be returned." Richard, what do you think about that? Should politicians be aware? Should a bell go off when they get money from this Council of Conservative Citizens?
Well, sure, but we don't know if any of them really knew where the money was from. It says something about this Holt character where he wants to put his cash, but I'm not sure what it tells us about the Republican Party candidates, other than that they're his favorites. So I'll make one more point very quickly.
Well, I want to stop you there, because they want to know, why does he give money to people if he doesn't agree with them? Richard Nixon,
I'm sure he does agree with them.
What does
I'm not sure that one would blame them for that.
What does he like about Republicans on race?
Well, they're the most acceptable candidates to a racist like him. That's what it tells you. The Supreme Court has said that money is speech, and he spoke very loudly, $70,000 worth. The one point I want to add is that Nikki Haley in 2013 was tainted a bit by the council. One of the persons who was on her re-election steering committee, a fellow named Rowan Garcia Quintana, himself was a council board member. So, the council is absolutely interested in having a foot not just in the extremist world, but also in the foot of mainstream politics. And that's a dangerous thing, obviously.
Howard, Chris, I think that the Republican Party now would like to get away from their own history, the sordid part of the Southern strategy. But like Banquo's ghost, this guy is haunting them. I think he's contributing partly because he wants to say, don't forget about us. We're part of your coalition. He's doing it for his own credibility to try to latch onto a Republican Party that is desperately, I think, increasingly going to be trying to get away from him. But whether they can get away from the last 30 or 40 years of their own history is a question that's going to be looked at in this campaign.
It's a sad, it's not up your bailiwick, Richard, but it's ours, Howard and mine. The weird politics of the Republican Party, which has been to scramble after the droppings of the other party. Like they go after whites who are angry about black advance. They go after anti-gay people because of same-sex marriage, because they go for what's left over politically. And that's not how you build a party. Anyway, thank you so much, Richard Cohen, for you're the expert on this. Thank you. Howard Fryman, great to hear from you. Up next, police may be
That's why black people need to look at TV like me, Garrett Shaw. See, that's the Southern strategy right there. They just pointed out to you right there. The Southern strategy. That's why when Obama got elected president, the whole South was red. It was a Southern strategy. The Democrat that got mad because, people like President Johnson, he gave black people their civil rights back in 1964, so they switched to the Republican Party, and ever since then, they've been Republican, and they've been hanging out with racist conservatives now, coming back to haunt them, and that boy who killed them 9 black people in Charleston, South Carolina, he was reading the manifest written by that man, what made him kill those people. Now that's the answer to the Southern strategy right there. Now y'all know why I don't vote Republican. And all the Uncle Tom blacks, they're always representing those white people who's racist, but they Uncle Tom, they get paid, just to make it look like they fair when they're not. Now you got it right there. The Southern strategy. That's what you need to focus on. So vote Democrat for 2016.